Who is the controller? Right? We are inquiring into what is meditation. Because perhaps if one can understand the nature of meditation, not the meaning of the word. Meaning of the word is very simple: to ponder, to think over, to inquire, and so on, so on. But apart from the word, to find out what is meditation. It may, in this inquiry, bring about a life which is extraordinarily sane, extraordinarily rational, and may be able to find out something that is nameless, timeless. We are leading to that. So who is the controller? Who says, I must control my feelings, or I must allow my feelings to flow, and so on. Who is that entity that says, I must control? You understand? Control and the controlled. The controller and the thing to be controlled. So there are division. Who is this controller? Is it not still the movement of thought? Thought has said, please follow this. Thought has said, I have experienced this, I have learned this, I must, all the rest of it, which is the past. So the past is the controller, right? And that which is happening now has to be controlled by the controller, right? You understand? Are you following all this? Or are you just going to sleep? Actually doing it, sir, I'm not talking for my benefit, right? I've talked for 52 years, basta for me. I'm not interested in talking. But I'm interested to find out if you can also discover the same thing. So that your own life will be totally different, transformed, so that you have no problems, no complexities, no strife, longings, all the rest of it. That's the reason the speaker is talking. Not for his own gratification, not for his own enjoyment, not for his own fulfillment, all that nonsense. So the controller is the result of thought based upon knowledge, which is the past, and that thought says, I must control that which is happening now, right? The actual. The actual is being, say for example, envy or jealousy, which you all know. And thought says, I must control, I must analyze, I must suppress it or fulfill it. So there is a division, right? Division created by thought. Follow? So, in this there is deception. Right? The deception lies in the idea the controller is different from that which is to be controlled. Both are created by thought. Right? So the controller is the controlled. I wonder if you see this. Right? So that there is no, if you really understand this, go into this very seriously, for yourself, you will see that controller is unnecessary. Only observation is necessary. You understand? When you observe, there is no controller. Or the control, just observing. Observing your envy, say for example, envy, observe it. Without naming it, without denying it or accepting it, just to see this sensation, this reaction which arises, which has been called envy, and to look at it without the word. You're following all this? Then, when there is no word, because the word represents the past. You're following all this? And when you use the word envy, it strengthens the past. Right? Right? So there is a possibility of living without any sense of control. I am saying this not after theory, but actually the speaker says what he has done, not what he invents. That there is a life without any sense of control. And therefore no sense of conflict, no sense of division. That can only come into being when there is only pure observation. Got it? Do it and you will see. Do it. Test it out. When there is no conflict whatsoever, what takes place in the mind? You understand? Conflict implies movement, right? Movement is time, right? Time being from here to there, both physically and psychologically. That is, the movement from the center to another center, or the movement from the periphery to another. You follow? There is this constant movement in all of us. Now, if you observe this movement very carefully, and as you observe what takes place in the mind, you're following all this? First, you have understood no authority, the nature of thought being limited, and knowledge, which is stored up in the brain as memory, and that memory acting as thought in action. So knowledge is always part of ignorance. Right? We went into that. So what takes place in the mind? You understand, the mind, as we've gone into it, is not only the capacity to think clearly, objectively, impersonally, and the things that thought has created, technologically, all the rest of it in the world, and thought has also created all